Also joining us this hour, CNN Global Affairs analyst Mark Esper, who of course served as defense secretary in the first Trump presidency. He's also a board member or strategic advisor for a handful of aerospace and defense-related companies. It's good to have you with us. So I know you heard these comments from White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby on the record now about the possibility this plane was brought down by Russian air defenses. As you look at what we do know here 2 days later, what is your first question, your main concern at this point?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, Erica. Look, I think in all that I could see and what I've heard, it looks like it was fragments from a missile or a cannon fired by an air defense artillery system using a proximity fuse. That's what would make those perforations in the fuselage of the aircraft. So the question is, I guess, from a larger perspective, is if the Russian city of Grozny, for example, was experiencing a drone attack, why isn't the Russian version of the FAA shutting down the airspace and diverting aircraft to a different city? Number one, that should be par for the course, if you will. And then secondly, if that attack was going on or it just transpired, why was the aircraft forced to depart Russian airspace, fly across the Caspian Sea, and land in Kazakhstan? Those are the two bigger questions I have out there beyond what downed the aircraft. To me, again, circumstantially, it looks like an air defense system perforated the hull of the aircraft, caused the damage, which eventually led to the crash landing.
And Secretary Esper, Kirby also said we're, quote, going to respect the joint investigation process between Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan. You just listed out some of the questions that you and others have. Do you think we'll ever get the full story here?
Not from the Russians. They tend to lie and obfuscate. So I'd be surprised if we do. But again, I think we can piece together at least the basics of what happened and get to some ground truth. But I think looking ahead, if you're flying into these parts of Russia that are being attacked by Ukrainian drones, then I think you got to be concerned about the viability of a commercial flight going into these places. And I think Russia has to address that larger issue for the broader flying community that's out there flying in and out of Russia.
While we wait for Russia to potentially address that, does that say to you that maybe commercial flights should avoid Russian airspace at this point?
Well, I wouldn't fly a Russian or any type of aircraft into Russia that borders Ukraine right now. Again, Russia has a history of this. We know that Russian air defense system shot down a Malaysian flight over Ukraine in 2014. So again, it's very opaque as to what's going on inside of Russia. Vladimir Putin is going to try to dodge this issue because he does not want to, embarrass his country and what's going on. And he's going to want to try to reassure people that flying to and from Russia is safe because he's got to be concerned about his already weakened economy being further affected by people unwilling to travel to or from Russia for business.
If we zoom way out for a second, how does this, if it does, connect at all with how many resources they've had to pour into the war on Ukraine? It made them not able to support Bashar al-Assad and his regime in Syria. Now you're seeing that they're potentially accidentally shooting down a passenger plane. Does it speak at all to how thinly their resources are spread right now?
Well, clearly they've refocused the military for sure and the economy on the war in Ukraine. We know that they're spending 8%, 9% of GDP on the war right now. The Russian economy is on a war footing with regard to the production of arms and ammunition. So they're very focused there. And I think what's happening on the ground is if you're in these border towns, whether it's southern Russia, where this happened in the Caucasus, or between the line of path between Ukraine and Moscow, you've seen over 2 years now, you've seen a variety of Ukrainian drone attacks against Russia. So if you're air defense gunner in Russia somewhere, you're nervous. You're concerned about missing a target that may attack the motherland, Russia. And so I think you have ANSI soldiers manning these systems, not wanting to make a mistake in terms of allowing a enemy drone to pass through. And I think they're taking shots at aircraft. In this case, we do know, or we believe at least, that there was electronic warfare taking place where the Russians were jamming the GPS system of this aircraft. And we also know that there was fog in the area. That's what prevented the aircraft from landing the first time. So now you have plausibly Russian air defense gunners shooting at radar targets that they can't visually verify, shooting up in the air. And again, that concerns me for any type of commercial aircraft flying in and out or through Russia for that matter.
Yeah, it is concerning. All right, Secretary Mark Esper, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.